Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Hour 2, Eberron Depth of Culture, which is, I think, Season 5, Episode 3.
This is the season when everything goes downhill.
I mean, honestly, that
was Into the Woods.
Yeah, that was Season 3. It's the odd seasons where things go sideways.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is when Ryyk has his character development, and then after his character develops, he just becomes a background character.
So this is what you see is the dwarf, the elf, the four skeletons. You can react first, Ryyk. Well, I say you can react first, Ryyk. But Dallas, can you do me a favor and roll me a perception check?
Gotcha.
Yes.
You did not notice him landing nimbly up there. Ooh, I like the color you chose. That's nice.
Thank you.
Oh, that's a good color. Ryyk, you can act first.
So, I say, who are you? Because I don't recognize the Tarani. I can never pronounce this guy.
Probably wearing Thorani uniform, but not.
Tarani, thank you.
Do
I recognize this guy specifically?
Nope.
All right.
I mean, all of them look the same.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
It is true.
Racist. I say, announce yourself. Who are you?
Does Dallas speak first or no?
Turn and say,
Hi, I'm Slade. The Thorani. We kind of know each other. Can you call them off? Can you call them off?
They're not going to hurt you. They're more going to be menacing. I can't call them off. That was my companion who summoned them. He'll be down shortly.
Oh, let's say it's my companion who summoned them, and literally Stalbor and Kieran can either land on the roof next to you or in the courtyard below, their choice.
I would probably land in the courtyard.
But before we call anybody out, what the hell are you doing here?
Oh, we're here to learn about the ancient past.
You're here to loot.
You know, I'm here to loot knowledge. It's about the ancient past. Well, it's House Lyrandar. What do you expect, man?
Well, I expect you to have a little bit more respect for for my ancestors, but yes, respect is not in high demand amongst the elves.
I'd also have expected House Thorani to have sent someone on their A team. You look D team at best.
I am insulted by what you're saying. I, of course, am completely here with the blessings of House Lyrandar. They have sent me here to come and find this knowledge.
Are you here without their blessing? Because if you dragged me into something that I'm not supposed to be doing, well, let's just say the supplies aren't worth it. I'm gonna put my maul away.
That's great.
At that point, the skeletons would put their weapons away as well.
I have my hand up, prepared to cast a spell. Oh, sparking from electrical magic, and I'm not going to put that down.
Huh.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my sword away, and I'm gonna look over at Karen. I'm just gonna give her an eye.
It's like,
come on, Karen.
Okay.
I put my hand down, but it's still sparking.
Yeah. It's like you put the gun down. You still have a gun.
I was in one of the libraries. There was an accident. There was a fire. I've been on some awful duties for a long while. I overheard the conversation of what you guys were doing, and I figured it was a good opportunity for me to... Bye, Ollie. Hi, Ollie.
Wasp alert. Wasp alert.
Oh, jeez. But the camera flipped.
Everybody run.
We'll fix that in a moment. Oh, God. Ollie's so funny. Beep. Anyways,
Everything's broken.
we gotta get him one of those
Excuse me, it's a wasp?
We gotta get him one of those tennis rackets that have the
Yeah, the
electricity.
electrified-
Yeah.
know.
I love it when you hit like
don't swing that at a wasp. Wasps release pheromones that attract more wasps when they get threatened. You don't want to fuck with a wasp, man.
I was gonna
Why
say
you
I did that to a pretty big hornet, and the hornet didn't die. It was just angry. I was like, "This is not powerful enough."
You gotta
I
have
tased
two
a
of them.
hornet and it just pissed
You
it
gotta have
off.
two of them.
You didn't change anything. Eric was
I said
tied in
tased.
the bedroom. Oh, okay. Eric was crying in the bedroom last time. We had like one of those like bullet wasps, whatever they were in the house.
Bullheaded
And-
hornets.
Yeah.
First of
And
all,
because
I
of
was
the
not
apartment.
crying. I was
Eric was
tactically
crying.
sobbing.
In the other room.
Secondly,
And I had Penny trying to bite it, so I had to catch it so she wouldn't get stung. So I chased it around and I put glass on top of it while Eric like just.
I don't do well with things that sting.
That's funny.
I get that. I'm allergic. So
I've never been stung, so I don't know.
I'm not allergic. I'm just a little bitch.
I was stung right here, and it just swelled up over my entire eye. It was great.
Oh,
I was
only
like, six, though, so
the only bee stinger that has ever entered my body. I think still single
Were they-
digits in age, and I was climbing out of a public pool, and it was already dead on like that little ledge right there,
just, like,
and its ass was up, so my thumb, and it was like, ah, you know, that was.
yeah.
I've been stung once, but that was because I stepped on it, so it's kind of fair.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like it's fine.
Yeah.
It died.
But either way, so Ollie's back.
I didn't see it leave, but it might be gone. Also, apparently, like.
Eric, do me a favor. Can you blink your camera for a second? Oh, never mind. Ollie's still gone. You have to do it after Ollie leaves. Let's see if that fixes it. There you go.
Okay.
Turn your camera off, then back on for a second. Yes! Cool. Awesome.
Good.
All right, back to the game. So, Ollie brings the drums. So he's like, and so I overheard what you guys were talking about, and I just thought, hey, it was a great opportunity to find some important information, bring it back to the family, and they would stop punishing me for the mistake that I made.
We
So-
don't need a
Oh,
fifth
no.
member.
Why
The
did you
fourth
slink
member.
in afterwards instead of joining us when we originally left?
Well, you know,
Yeah, you're on your own. And I turn around, I'm walking out.
All right, I think
He just walks over to our group and like crosses his arms. He's like one of us now.
I'm walking to the door. I'm
mean-
probably gonna go sit in one
Wait.
of those makeshift chairs.
Wait. Before everyone leaves, we do have a lot more area to scout out because it wasn't in the highly trapped area we thought it was. Could we use more people to help us look?
yeah,
I
where's
think-
the other member of your party? There's only 3 of you here.
I think he fell in
Got
the
it.
trapdoor or something.
he's already past you, a master of stealth and disguise. So do not mess with us. Because he'll
He's
pick you
always
out.
watching.
I'm gonna go sit in one of those chairs. Let me know if you need anything.
I would probably not do that.
My
Things here are very heavily trapped.
the chairs.
Comically so.
The chairs are most likely. the
Probably
most
not, but do you really want to risk that? Just think of where the spikes could pop up.
Kieran's right. You've already gone this far. At least help us sort through the dead bodies. Not
Well,
you.
As lovely as this sounds. As lovely as this sounds. I came here because I was given supplies. Because I want to be left alone. What can you offer me to leave me alone?
Well, we literally can't leave you. Offer to leave you alone. You'd be joining us.
I mean, you could stay in this crypt forever. It's pretty lonely. There's lots of, people, but they're mostly dead. So
The skeletons
Slade
will both
chuckles when
look
you
at
say that.
Kieran.
But more importantly, in our short time here, we've discovered a large hoard of treasure, and given that the Dakani Empire was one of the most wealthy and robust of its time, and given how pretty
I
well
kind of give like Ryyk a hard shove at that. Like, shut up.
what I'm saying is there's probably more loot here, and given the fact that our friend seems to have fallen into a rift in the space-time continuum, we do need a fourth.
Oh, and a 5th.
We don't work
We
with the B
need-
team. We work with the best.
We
You
need a
hush.
fourth. We will tolerate a fifth.
Well, I mean, as far as I can see, there's 9 of us here.
Hush. Hush. Hush for a moment. First of all, I have no use for money. Don't care about wealth or gold, and
Oh,
apparently
you're the first House Lyrandar member I've met who said that. Ever. In their life.
Wow. Karen, a lot of really transparent things are happening right now.
Not
They're not
every
look-
dwarf is interested in just gold,
Hashtag not all dwarves.
He'll do like a dwarven like, oh god, kind of like I'm Moradin's beard, but not. I don't know what the dwarves worship in this.
Depends on the dwarf, but
By Kuiper.
Dal'Rah, I think.
I don't know.
Happy to help you. Happy to help you. If you got food and supplies, that can always help me. Can always help me, and I can always appreciate it. I plan on living out here in the woods, well, mountain, after we're done. But if you have supplies, or if you are willing to give supplies afterwards, I'm happy to help you for now.
Oh, Stalbor, do you still have that cup? The wine one. The drinking one?
No.
Oh, did that explode?
Yeah.
That's a shame. I think you would have liked that.
That's rude. They're like an elvish.
We do have various amounts of supplies, so we'd be glad to supply you with whatever you need in exchange for your assistance in accomplishing what we're here to do.
Oh, then Matilda and I are happy to help.
That's your hammer.
That's my hammer.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you were referring.
In elvish, like dwarves do have a lot of things in common, mind.
So when you guys all seem put together, Slade's like, I'm glad we all came to the conclusion that we're working together. So, about this door, how can we get this open?
Dwarf, are you strong?
Relatively.
Well, I don't want relatively, I want... Yes, sir, I am strong, sir. Do you think you can open this giant locked door? I'll give you a hand.
He says the frail-looking elf.
He doesn't look frail anymore, he just looks elf.
I imagine you still look like this frail little bastard. And
wears big coat.
All of us are just like nodding along, like, yes, this is the plan. We'll have the wizard help you open.
He'll like hand his staff to one of the skeletons, like a
your home staff, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny because I will definitely try to take the staff again.
Nope, the skeleton took it. It's secured. It's safe.
All right. Sure. This will be fun. Why not? Let's well, don't forget to put your back into it.
Oh, it's not about the back, it's about the hips.
He throws his crotch into it. I was waiting for that one.
I wanted it so bad.
He's like, belt buckle.
You want me to roll on this as well?
I mean, honestly, I thought one of you were going to be rolling with advantage, but now you can.
I wanted to roll. Sorry.
Right. You what? I mean, I'll roll as well then, I guess.
Yep.
Does that work?
We're gonna need you to not suck.
I mean, it's not that much better.
Nope, it's not. Unfortunately, the thing.
The skeletons have been wearing on it for a while.
But it still seems to be barred. It's not even moving. Not with the level of assault you're making against it, it doesn't even seem to be moving at all.
Oh, and this is the door that we figured I can't cast knock on because it's got multiple locks, right?
You believe so, yes.
Yeah. All right. After like a moment of trying, we're like, still not the only way of entry. Up the walls again, then.
What?
Or I could just blast the door down.
What's it made of?
Doesn't always work out well.
It is comprised of like finely made metals. Because you have to remember that the hobgoblins were the best metal crafters in all of
Is there a little space under the door? Like a little...
It is... I mean, air can pass through, and maybe, I guess, a piece of paper, but otherwise it's flush.
If I get down on the ground right next to it, can I see through to the other side?
Absolutely not. If you were a beetle, you would not be able to. You would likely not be able to crawl through.
It's actually like a properly made door.
Yeah, but what if I was actually air? And I go
then
under
you
the door?
certainly could. Yes.
Awesome, I do that.
Okay. Well, that's a
You figure out the logic I was going for there.
Yeah.
So
got it.
Kieran turns into air. So could you describe this? Because Dallas has not seen this happen.
Absolutely. You see, just a billow of fog start to form around her as she just slowly kind of dissipates with it, and just like a swoosh will sweep away under the door.
Okay. She
That's unsettling.
Yep. She
Oh,
swoop-
you get used to it.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
happens a
think I
lot.
will. I don't think I will.
The
She also has a
muscular
giant mark of House Lyrandar on her face, which you know would be the mark of the storm.
airships, ships, land ships.
Weather powers?
Ships.
It's not just her face; it also comes around the side of her head and whatnot. She shaves her
Yes.
head to reveal it
Yeah,
and
like
whatnot.
half my head is shaved now.
So, does anybody else imagine when she's in ghost form, gaseous form, the way she flies around is much like Moaning Myrtle in the bathroom? Like,
Oh yeah, there you go.
I was
I
thinking
imagine
the
she's
exact
actually a
opposite.
cloud.
Yeah, no, she's actually a cloud though. I don't have like a corporeal
Yeah.
like form.
yeah.
I mean, it's a spell description.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's just funnier to, you know. So,
Not
you
everything
go
has to be a
swooping through,
joke, Scott.
and when you come up on the other side, what you're seeing is the area on the other side, because of course you do have dark vision and you have the piercing sight and whatnot from your mark as well. When you come up on the other side and you're staring down the hallway, you can see that this is in fact a grand entrance, as was described I think 2 sessions ago, maybe a session ago. It's all designed to bring you straight to the throne where the king or the ruler or whatever it is would be sitting. So it's supposed to be imposing. It's supposed to be, you walk into this huge chamber and it's intimidating. You walk past many guards and traps and whatnot, it's intimidating. You walk straight line to the ruler who's sitting there waiting for you because he knew you were coming long before you came and he could have killed you at any step along the way. That's the feeling that this place is supposed to give, and to a degree has delivered thus far, even if it's more or less not manned at the moment. That's what you see before you. But I imagine you're less interested in that and also interested in what's behind you. And so you turn around, you look, and you see that the door that is there is barred shut. It actually has, sitting in front of you, it looks like it has 2 bars that are holding the door shut, so it would never be able to budge. The thing is, again, made out of metal. So the ability to warp or destroy that metal is going to be very hard to come by. It's going to be very difficult to do. And it's reinforced behind it with 2 bars. One of the bars is made out of solid stone and is perfectly put into place. The stone is about 1.5 feet by 1.5 feet, perfectly squared, but then there's a big long rectangle, right? So perfect cube, otherwise a big long rectangle that's slotted into place. Something that's too heavy for you or even Stalbor alone to lift and move out of the way, right? You would need significant more aid to lift this thing and move it. The second slab of stone that should be there locking this door is not perfectly formed and whatnot. As a matter of fact, it has a bit of a sag to it because it's currently flesh. And it's got this like droop to it. And so you believe if you wanted to, you could draw a sword and with some hacking or slashing or maybe even some magic, you'd be able to blast the thing apart. But it's got some sag to it.
That's gross.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big flaccid thing of stone.
Gross.
Placid is a totally reasonable word.
It is.
Gross.
Just like turgid.
All right. So I'm gonna Kapori on the other side and begin trying to open these locks. I am going to pull like a handkerchief or like an extra cloak on my bag to cover my hands with because everything's fucking trapped.
So you recorporeate, of course. And what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna try to open the locks from the inside.
The locks are just that, the big stone slabs that are in the way. Or the stone and flesh slab. That's it. That's all that's in the way.
I'm gonna try to push the stone.
I mean, it's one of those things. Don't even roll a check because you're not strong enough to move it alone. Kieran is very weak.
There.
Wow.
I have a 10 strength.
You're very weak.
Reasonably
I have a
strong.
14 gun.
She's mad strong, bro.
Alright, so I guess I'll investigate the inside then.
She has bitch strength sometimes.
So do you say anything to them through the wall at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'll try to yell back. I can't move this. It's like warped into the door.
I mean,
These are the worst locks ever.
It's,
Can't be unlocked.
it can be unlocked from the inside.
Yeah.
If you want to sit for 8 hours, I can prepare a spell that can get through this. I figure you don't.
No, not particularly, but
You are accurate.
Slade says.
but you do you.
Slade says, "I'm actually really good with locks. Where are the pins? Where are like describe to me what you see, and I might be
It's
able to describe
3
it back."
Giant fucking slabs that I can't move. 2 giant fucking slabs, one of which is like a fleshy thing at the bottom.
Ew.
Flesh.
Wait, there's a fleshy slab in there?
Yeah.
These people are flesh sculptors.
I thought that was gross, he says, pointing at the dead flesh thing on the ground.
It used to be alive. Much
Okay.
worse.
He's like, is it the same thing as that one right there? Pointing at the exploded stone one.
If he was talking to Stalbor didn't consider that to be a continuation of the same conversation and is ignoring him.
Jesus.
But yeah, it's metal. I can probably break it with enough, ice and heat, but that'll take time and I need to rest.
Maybe look around. Maybe there's a mechanism. There's some mechanics in this place.
Cool. Hopefully I don't step into a trap and die.
So you turn and you start walking away. From what you did observe on the inside, again, they were big stone slabs that were put into place, or at least you think they're both supposed to be stone slabs, but one of them's flesh right now, that were put into place to keep this door sealed shut. You don't see any winches or any gears or any, what are they called, cranes or pulleys or anything around. It seems as though they would have assisted in moving this.
I'll call back after
But
like
you
a
can,
minute-
of course, go searching.
after a moment and be like, you said there were two things barring it. If one of them's flesh, destroy it. I can remove the other one with the magic.
Yeah, I can do that. And I'll take out my rapier and start.
Oh God. Is that really? Has anybody here ever
Stab.
taken? So you know how when you eat corn on the cob, you have those like pokey things that you can use to like nom nom nom. Has anybody ever tried to cut their steak in half with one of those? No, you haven't, right? Because it's fucking ridiculous, right? Well, here she is.
I'm gonna do it, guys.
How long do you think you'll take?
Quite a bit.
One moment. I actually, if I get bored of that,
I imagine you do very quickly.
very quickly, I'll start.
1, 2, 4. I imagine.
Well, that was fun. Put my rapier away, which I'd never use, and then shock and grasp it.
Okay. So, you grab the thing with shock and grasp, and it does electrical damage that courses through it. I mean, it does singe it, it does jolt it, the thing kind of wiggles significantly, like almost as though you've actually hit nerves, and the nerves are reacting to it, which is, again, just fucking gross, because you're touching, sorry, this is Ray of Frost, but same diff.
I'm gonna do Ray Frost next to try to
Gotcha.
chill it and
So
just break it.
it does kind of wiggle around a bit, like almost as though you hit nerves and the nerves were reacting to it, and there might be muscle inside. I don't know, but you don't recall seeing muscle when you broke through this before. It seemed like just layers and layers of flesh. Anyways,
You know what I just realized? I will say this out loud in character. I could have made any one of you into fog, and you could have got on here instead.
Well, you didn't.
I didn't.
You fucked up.
Don't worry, we'll remember
well.
it for next time.
and so you after this thing just kind of wiggle, you use your Ray of Frost to freeze up a chunk of it, and then
And then chip that with my rapier.
you come to the conclusion, if you keep doing this repetitive motion, you probably can get it done in the next, say, half hour or so. Say half hour.
Half an hour, maybe longer.
Oh, no time at all then.
So that allows Dallas, Ryyk, Stalbor, and Slade to take a seat on the other side, and get to know one another while they're waiting for her to chip open the door.
You know what? I could have actually twin spelled too, so I wouldn't have had to use an extra spell slot, and then both of us.
Too late.
Oh well.
She says this
You fool.
3 or 4 minutes later.
You know, I feel like I was somebody else.
You goddamn fool.
Is there any conversation that sparks up between Dallas and the other two?
I will be like, what's a dwarf doing all the way out here?
Well, the mirror holds her right over there.
She
Sorry, I
says
can't hear you.
Yeah, I say.
through the huge metal door while he's not yelling at it, and she's making loud banging noises.
Just trying to get away.
I've done that.
Oh. How?
I went to Shan.
Let me see real quick. You doing it on your phone?
Eric, mute
Eric,
yourself.
mute yourself.
There we go. I went to Shan when I was on the run. Big place filled with people. Seems like you've done the opposite, and you've gone to a small place filled with a big place filled with no people, and yet you still managed to find an idiot. I'll say, like, pointing at Slade. He doesn't know the name of.
Well, the lovely people of the house here offer me supplies to do occasional grunt work for them. And in exchange, they leave me alone, for the most part. This one doesn't leave me alone enough. And
You know, I found that after a time, I didn't want to be left alone anymore.
oh, is this where you're going to try and convince me to become friends with people that I've just met?
I don't give a fuck about you. I don't know who you are. But I'm having a conversation because my significant other there is going to be spending half an hour, and I know that's quite a long time for the shorter-lived races like yourself.
Actually, half an hour of peace and quiet is quite nice. But if you're willing to talk, and you want to talk, I'm happy to talk. But if you're going to give me peace and quiet, I'm happy for that too.
I don't mind quiet. And then after like 5 minutes, they're like, do you know how to play Conqueror?
No, but I'm willing to learn.
Me neither. And I'll get like Kieran's Conqueror pack out or whatever.
Oh, Kieran does
I
that
have
for fun.
I have a Conqueror
That's. I know one of us does. I don't have it in my inventory, but I think I do. But I don't have it in my inventory. But,
Kieran
yeah.
plays explosive shuffleboard.
Oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
I like the sound of that a little more.
Yeah. Conqueror Will is like this world's version of chess/risk.
I assumed it was something along those lines.
We and I would definitely challenge you to a game. Being like full disclosure, like I am a brilliant man who can master magic in all form, yet I do not understand this game in the slightest. Your turn.
I would watch the entire time, and I would be the most annoying person to watch you because
There'll be like a moment where like I'll make a play and it'll be like, not a word, not a word.
It's funny because Slade's also like, yeah, I don't know, I wouldn't have taken that move, and Ryyk sitting there like, that's the most brilliant move that's been made so far in this fucking game.
Are we just doing straight intelligence check here?
If you're not trained in Conqueror, then yes.
Alright.
It's a special tool, so tell
Oh, it was so close. It was so close.
Okay, I have to ask though, Dalness, do you use an action point?
Ooh.
You know, I thought about it, but no.
You don't use an action point. You can one up the Stalbor.
You
I
can
could.
use an action point after you roll, by the way. So you can see what you roll first.
Yeah, no, I'm still not going to, because it will maybe make him quiet. I don't think he'll be quiet if I beat him.
Okay, so Stalbor, the game is going in your favor, but doesn't end by the time that Kieran finally breaks through.
Okay.
And the two floppy bits kind of like, one of them falls and hits the ground. It's like springy and flops for a second and then falls over. And the other one just kind of like onto the ground. They have two halves of big slabs of flesh that's on the ground in front of you.
Ah, that was the sound of flesh.
Yeah.
That's fucking
what else?
gross.
You might want to step back, dear. This might be quite fast. Not the first time I've said that.
You didn't. This could have been a short rest without a long rest. Is that okay, Ollie?
It wasn't any rest.
Okay, cool. You still had one.
It was half an hour.
No,
so
you're fine.
I didn't
So-
consider it anything.
Aaron, do you like? Because do
yeah,
you
this
like
is
run
fast
down the
stuff, actually.
hallway to stay out of the way of this opening, or do you
if-
like discorporeate because you still can?
I don't think I still can. I think once I end the spell, it's over.
That was a short rest, Scott. Because it was a short rest.
No, it wasn't technically a short rest. It was one of those. If you guys wanted it to be, it could have been. But you
Yeah.
transform, and I don't think it ends when you transform back. I think it says a concentration up to an hour.
It's concentration up to an hour. I can, but while I'm concentrating on it, while the spell's cast, I'm Mystic Cloud. I can choose to end it early and record it.
Oh,
I
you
believe.
can't go back and forth.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
That wouldn't really super make sense if you could go back and forth.
I mean, that would be really strong because you could theoretically use this in combat.
Yeah.
You know, keep your form or keep the discorporeate form when not on your turn. You get the benefits of the DR and everything.
That'd be one of those
On
things.
your turn to attack and
Yeah.
discorporeate again. That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Like
I'd expect it on like an old D&D edition, but not in 5e.
Yeah, I thought I could be confused with the
Yeah.
old one. Okay, that's fine. So
just mechanically, it wouldn't make too much sense.
he just says step back. How far back do you step? Because it would just eventually bring you into the throne room.
Just the swinging of the door, like however long the door is.
Okay, so when he casts a spell,
That way.
Kieran's not very wise, so she probably would have forgotten what happened last time he cast a knock spell on a door that had something like this behind it. And the big slab of stone gets launched from the door over towards Kieran. Kieran, make a dexterity save, please.
Yeah.
The image of this is just great if you get hit.
Oh no.
Yep.
Kieran, would
use
you
an
like
action
to
point.
use an action?
I don't think it would help. Well, maybe because it's not like an attack roll. Yeah.
It's a 2d6 from the lowest. You might get like
Yeah.
a 14. Yeah.
Okay, so you get a
Why did I roll
5.
this?
I just assume the first two. So you get a 13 total. So as the thing comes, you're able to move out of the way. I did this as a 2-tier DC. You're able to move out of the way enough that the thing doesn't full on like hit you. You don't take full damage, you get pinned and whatnot. But you also aren't able to avoid it entirely. So you are still stuck taking 2d6 damage from this thing, kind of grazing you as it goes by. You can roll a 2d6. There you go. And that's right, you just rolled the same thing again. You literally rolled a 3, a 5, a 3, a 5, a 3.
Yeah.
Is that weird? No?
It's a little weird.
So it's odd.
That weird.
So you take 8 points of bludgeoning damage, and as the thing like bashes past you, kind of clips you and lands on the ground behind you. This thing, even though it's made out of stone, is so solid, it's so strong, that even that launch from the door and the heavy hit onto the ground still didn't even crack it, let alone break it, right? The door is still shut, same as before, because the amount of magic it took even to launch that thing wasn't enough to also open the door as well.
At that point, I'll just start pushing it open.
And you guys, because once again, it's designed to be a defensive spot. So remember, the original doors opens towards you. The middle ones open inwards. These ones open towards you guys again. So you're actually going to pull them open.
Pulling.
Yep. And so you guys are able to pull the door open. And once again, when you look into the doorway, what you see is this very ornate, beautiful hallway that is designed to inspire awe in you as you're walking towards the throne. The throne is currently out of sight because it is a long hallway that'll have many, bits of art on the walls. And you haven't seen any corpses thus far, Kieran, in your short bit that you've been in. So the door opens up, and there you guys stand. You're able to pull the door open and see the two broken halves of flabby fleshiness, and the stone that was launched on the other side of Kieran, with Kieran having a bruise appear in her arm.
I'll like step up to Ryyk and quietly say, chances are your usurper thief made a jolly around the throne room just for shits and giggles.
I look around and I say, but how would they have gotten through the lock?
Evidently, whoever stole this or wherever it was hidden, it's very well done.
I nod. I'm gonna look around the room, Scott.
So you're actually going to walk through the hallway and walk into the throne room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah! Skeletons first!
Do skeletons go first?
Yes.
Oh, that wasn't just me, was it?
No, I don't know who that was.
Okay,
From,
so long as I'm not the only one who heard the beeping, I was like, what's in my room? So, it sounded like it could have been a fire alarm.
Just turned off.
Ah, gotcha. So, you send the skeletons go walking in the room first, Ryyk? You okay with that?
I'm fine.
So the 4 skeletons, shields out, go walking into the room first. And as they go walking into the room, something very strange happens. They go walking first into the throne room, and as they do, all of a sudden you start to see a light, like a glow happen from within them, from deep within them. But then that glow expands outwards, almost misty and tendril-like at first, not fully formed cloud at first, but then it pulls itself back together and solidifies around their bones, around their bodies.
Is this
within
similar
their
to what we
armor.
saw Genocide do?
No. Within
Okay.
their armor, so on and so forth. Until what you do see before you is the fully corporeal skeletons that you see, but also an incorporeal, almost like the full visage of the peoples that they were before, in this pale blue light that has a slight glow to it standing there. And as they go walking in, and as they start to go into the area, they seem discombobulated. The skeletons do. It takes a matter of like say 8 or 10 seconds for them to fully come into their full form that you see. And then one of them turns to the other one and says, "How did I get here?" In very old Dakani. It's one of those things where Ryyk hears it, nobody else understands it. Ryyk hears it, and it's again, you studied ancient Dakani many times, but much like in real life, we study Latin, and so I can say things to you in Latin, like I know a handful of Latin words from 2 years of studying it, but nobody knows actually how it was spoken, because it's a dead language. It's been dead for so long that we assume this is how it's properly pronounced, right? So when you're hearing the language spoken in front of you, it's like you understand the words, but it sounds different than you would have expected it to have sound when you hear them, right? Similar to when that spirit was speaking beforehand when you guys were in the temple and talking to it. So, except when that one spoke, it spoke in a way that it was designed magically to be more for your, use. So anyways, one of them turns to the other and says, "How did I get here?" And the other's like, "I am also at a loss. I do not know." And the third one finally coming into us that came from like the second two that walked in says, "We must check the throne. We must see that the king is safe. We must worship and we must see that the king is safe. We must see that he is well." And the four of them turn their attention to the throne and start making their way towards the throne, like falling in line. Ryyk, you have read and you have heard about the way that the Dakani Empire, the way the soldiers would march and move. You've read about that. Your soldiers nowadays in Dargun try to emulate it to horrible failure from the way that you see them move. It's like every step has a practiced footfall. It's so strange seeing it's like the way that they step. It's like that doesn't even make sense for the sake of conservation of energy. But then you come to the realization it's almost like goose stepping, the way that they walk. It's like they step in such a way there's so much confidence behind every movement that others are meant to take in the awe of them walking across the room. And you fall susceptible to that for a moment. You are also awed by the confidence in the way that the swagger that they use as they move. Anybody else move into the room or say anything or react in any way?
I prepare to cast a spell. I prepare an action in case they get violent.
I do say, it's like, this isn't me. I didn't do that to them. They
Can
did
you
that
still
to them.
control them?
I'll, because I can issue commands to them. I'll issue like just a command to stop to like one of them.
Okay. So you say for one of them to stop, and as you say that command, the skeleton actually stops short. The spirit continues to move forward, and then it like slowly, almost like it's moving through very thick, like not just water, but like almost like jello, like
Molasses.
moves around and looks horrified and confused for a second, and then just seems to be like ripped apart and discorporeates entirely, and the skeleton stops. The other three turn back and look and like, what the hell just happened? Where did he go? And they get their swords and shields at the ready. And once again, you were able to see the way that they fall into battle formation seamlessly from the way that they were walking beforehand. Now almost clicks for you, Ryyk. Why it is that they were walking.
I can hear you.
Okay, that almost clicks for you why it is the way that they were walking the way they were. Every step that they make as they land that foot can turn into a pivot and a readied action to handle whatever is endangering them at the moment. So you see them instantly fall into a formation around the skeleton right there, swords and shields at the ready, surrounding the thing. One of them says to the other and says, "Where did this appear from? I don't know. It seems like the flesh was taken from our friend, from the guard." And so one of them takes a testing step forward and swings and smacks its sword, because it has a Dakani sword, against the skeleton. The skeleton takes the hit. How does it react, Ollie?
It doesn't do anything.
Okay, it just stands there.
I'll actually say quite quickly. I have a theory. If I have the fear, if I use some magic now, I won't be able to use magic later that might save our lives.
Hold on to it. Let me try to talk to them. I'm gonna step in and probably very thickly accented. I'm gonna say in Old Dakani, wait.
So you step into the room. As you step into the room, the whole room from immediately behind you to your sides behind you where that wall is that you just stepped through. There's a doorway right into into the throne room, there is like a ripple in the air of that bluish light that I just mentioned, and that bluish light rushes across the room, which is ginormous, so big that you have not yet even seen the throne itself, the chair itself that's on the far end. And this light ripples through the air, and it lights up the entire room as it works its way through. After it finishes the light hitting the other side, it swirls for a few moments, and then you see a form sitting on the throne itself.
I like step in. I look like I'm gonna continue to talk, but my mouth just kind of hangs open for a moment, and then just recognizing what like kind of what's happening, I'm gonna regain my composure, and I say, "Wait."
One of the guards, so two of them stay trained on this skeleton that's between them, and the other one immediately turns and starts making his way over to you. At first, he starts coming at you at a very quick pace. You can clearly tell that the way that he's moving, it's almost a jog, and you can also tell the measured steps that he makes as he goes means at any point in time, if his so much as a toe hits the ground, he will have a good enough stance to put a good thrust behind his arm to engage you in combat. But once he makes out that you're a hobgoblin, though horribly dressed and looking funny, and you can see that he finds you to be a strange creature, he does slow down his charge and says, explain, civilian, what is this? Mind you, you're like covered in like weapons and stuff.
I say, this will be difficult. You are dead.
When you say you are dead, there's like a look of shock in his eyes, and then you almost hear a tolling of a bell. It's a bell that none of you have ever heard before, none except one, who has heard this bell many, 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 many times before. And as a single toll of a bell rings, all of a sudden the other three skeletons are hit with some unseeable force that washes out the other side of them. The spirits that just completely discorporeate again. The four skeletons are standing there motionless. As the ringing of the bell comes to an end, something that probably be intimidating to Ryyk, who's actually standing in the room. Ryyk, you start to see that there is another form that appears in the room. Not just anywhere, though. Appears immediately behind you. You can see that this person, the way that they're dressed, how finely dressed they are, how much, how well designed their armor is, the sword at their side, the helmet they carry under their arm, as they're rushing into the chamber. Not rushing like they're running with a message, rushing like they're walking with purpose and effective like this is their place. Though clearly, they're not the ruler here. And you see them making their way through the chamber over towards whoever it is that sits on the throne. As they do so, they're walking, you're in their path. How do you react, Ryyk?
I'm gonna step out of the way, and after he goes past me, everyone outside just sees like my face is just so I'm like mesmerized by this scene. I'm just gonna follow him.
Okay. Anybody else come into the room? Anybody else do anything
absolutely. During this whole time, Stalbor's been itching to move, and when Ryyk starts moving, he sort of hurries behind several paces, but would also be careful when he actually crosses that threshold.
Yeah, I'll enter. I'm still preparing an action to cast a spell, if any of them attack.
I've got my maul out, and I'm following behind because I don't know what the hell's happening, and I don't know these people, but they told me they wanted me to help, so I'm helping.
I mean, we don't know what's happening either.
You seem like a trustworthy person. Would you like to join our adventuring group?
Hey, I know I'm dead. It'll be fine. Has anything happened when we step into the throne room?
So, when you guys step into the throne room, it's one of those things where as each one of you steps in, it's almost as though, well, actually, Ryyk, roll me an Arcana check, but as the first person steps in, first person being, Ryyk steps in, you can see that there's another wash of color that goes through the room. It's actually the immediate next color that comes washing through is red. And as the red washes into the blue, you can see that there's more depth of color. There's various hues that happen across their bodies. And the different hues cause like purples and reds and blues that give more definition to the shape that's marching across the chamber over towards the throne, which you can see glowing on the other side. The next one that walks in is Kieran, I imagine?
After Stalbar, yeah.
Yep, and then you can see greens wash through the room. And then as Dalness comes walking in, you can see that all of a sudden like a pure white light walks into the room. You can see that the whole room, all the different colors that were there before, seem to have more perfect blending. Like the colors are looking almost perfect. Then once Slade comes walking into the room, you can see darkness fills the room as well. And you can see all the shadowing and everything comes into place as the room seems to become more and more real as each one of you are walking in. Why Stalbar is, I said Stalbar, why did Ryyk roll Arcana?
You said
You never told
Ryyk.
anyone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said Ryyk roll Arcana.
Did I?
Yeah,
Probably.
you called me Ryyk like 3 times in that.
I mean, to be fair, you look like a Ryyk. You are a goblin.
That's pretty hot.
I'm gonna roll with advantage. Fuck you! I'm gonna roll with advantage. You was calling me mean. Yeah, take that 20 years.
Okay. Why'd you roll its advantage?
Because you forgot my name and then you were mean.
Ollie, you are a goblin.
I also rolled it normal. So.
Rude. Legal.
So you, I mean, obviously you can tell that something to do with each one of you entering the chamber, and who knows what would have happened if there was less of you. Who knows what would have happened if there's more of you coming in? But each one of you entering the chamber does seem to have an effect on the overall ambiance, and you seem to be standing in a fully lit chamber with everybody having the full textures to their body. Every part of them seems as though they're real right now. So that person stomps, like goes marching across the room. You guys also see that there are 2 others that seem to have come just inside the doorway. You didn't see them as you passed in because they didn't exist. But now kind of like you realize that somebody, oh shit, there's somebody like right behind me. There are 2 standing on either side, just inside the doorway itself, on either side of like the path that leads straight to the throne. Guards standing there. Judging by the way that they're dressed, they seem to have come in with the one that's marching its way across to the throne chair itself. Who does anybody continue down towards the throne, or is it just Ryyk?
I would be following Ryyk.
I'll give him
Ryyk keeps
space.
going. I keep going.
If you're stopping, then
I don't stop, but I do keep a good distance back, just to be respectful.
Yeah, imagine like there's Ryyk in front, then I'm like a couple of paces back, and then a couple paces back is Kieran, and with Kieran is Dwarf.
Okay, awesome. So as you see him walking towards the throne, and he's very purposefully, we are going to take our next break, and when we come back, we're going to see exactly what is going on here in this throne room. So see y'all shortly.